We're here, we're queer, and we will continue to change the world. Welcome to Queer Changemakers. I'm your host, Justin Mezzatine, pronouns he, him, and each episode will share stories of LGBTQ plus individuals who are taking action to make a difference in our communities and beyond. Welcome to another episode of Queer Changemakers. Today, our guest is Alex Armira. Welcome to the show, and would you like to give a short introduction about who you are and what you're up to?
So hi everyone, I'm Alex Armira. My pronouns are they, she, and I'm currently the LGBTQIA communications coordinator for PRIDEnet. So I mostly work on graphics, so communications people, they're kind of a jack of all trades. So anything I can help with, I'm usually doing.
Okay, can you give a short reintroduction of what PRIDEnet is for those who maybe not remember from last episode?
So PRIDEnet focuses on community engagement for LGBTI health research. So we do outreach for both the Pride study and the All of Us research program. And I focus on the communications for all of that.
Awesome. Nice. So I met you all at the Creating Change conference back in January. Had a fun booth with a spinny wheel and to win prizes. And also just a lot of joy that was happening there. So I'm glad we get to have this conversation and learn a little more both about what you're doing and who you are. Because I think each person, brings something different to the table. And yeah, I just love hearing people's stories and seeing how those go. So for you, what brought you into this role and working at PRIDEnet?
I just started this past year, so I'm still pretty new compared to everyone else. It is a pretty new organization. It started around like 2016-ish, 2017.
Okay.
So it's a pretty new organization, and they were looking for someone to help their communications people. My manager, Anna, who you've also been talking to, she was doing all the comms work on her own, so they're adding someone on. And I was freshly out of college, or it had been a year about then, but I was looking for work, and I was kind of at the point where I was kind of feeling like I was gonna have to give up on I was gonna have to go the more corporate route for communications, and I really didn't want to do that, especially like I just have very strong feelings about the way corporations communicate.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like corporations also have complicatedly strong feelings about how they communicate as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, uh,
I wanted to be in a more like human role. And when I saw like the application for this, I was kind of scared to apply just because it was asking for a lot. And I was like, oh, I'm just fresh out of school. They're not gonna like hire me. But I had friends like encourage me. And then there was like a line in the application that was like, people who are from like underrepresented communities often like invalidate themselves, or like not exactly like that, but like we encourage you to apply if you're feeling that way, because often like we people from underrepresented communities like undervalue themselves.
wow. And that was on the application itself?
Yeah, it wasn't like that exact wording, but that was like so helpful because I was like, okay, I guess I'll give it a shot. And I mean, it worked out. So
Wow, I really that's pretty cool. So you said like you didn't want to work for a corporate place. And that line is something that I don't think I've ever seen in a corporate type of application. And I think that probably speaks to some of the differences, because that's pretty cool how a place chooses to be more inclusive and more diverse. And like sometimes you have to say the extra things that connect to the people.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. And then also that they were focused on the community. I didn't know anything about LGBTQIA plus health research before I like saw the application. I was just looking for like communications roles. So that in itself got me really interested in the programs, and I like signed up before I like even like applied to the job.
Mhm.
As I just thought both of the programs were pretty cool. So um especially like I've like worked towards advocacy for the community since high school, creating Gay Straight Alliance at my schools and both in high school and college. So like I already had like really, or I guess like roots in to like continue in advocacy. So that's why it was like a breath of fresh air to be able to like continue that route.
Nice. So you were doing this in high school in some ways, and before that, what were those experiences like? And I guess maybe what part of the country were you?
So I grew up in LA. It was surprisingly, it was not the best experience.
Mhm.
As most people think. We had a lot of well, we did have support from like teachers and stuff, but like with like students and then even some of the administration, it was hard to get some like policies going. So having like gender neutral restrooms, a gender neutral changing room.
Mm.
Um, that was some of the stuff we changed.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, it was like a couple of my friends and I in our senior year. There was a GSA before that, but like it kind of like just stopped. Um, uh, like it was there, but then like it didn't continue. It was like all the seniors, and then our sophomore year, it like ceased to exist. And we're like, okay, we need this back. So we started it back up. Same thing happened in college. Funnily enough, I went to college up here in I'm in the Bay Area now. And sorry to answer your question about where everyone's like located. We're all sort of remote. So we have some people in the East Coast, in the South, in the Midwest. This is like so we can help like reach out to those communities because like we're all well, the studies are based in the US, so it's like we're all over the country. So it's like we also have to be all over the country to like reach everyone. Um,
Nice.
so yeah. I went to college in the Bay Area and I forgot the rest of the question.
I know that's totally fair, totally fair. I was not out in college or high school, and so it's interesting to see just the diversity of the people's experiences, and especially with sometimes with the younger generation, we'll say people under 25. Uh, it's easy to see some of the super expressive stories where it's like, look at that person who's 10 and they like fully know themselves and they're just like, yes, this is me and this is how I go to middle school. And like I see that a lot, and some of the older people or friends that I talk to are like, wow, what could life have been if that was us as not even teenagers yet. But yeah. So I never know, like, is that the experience that everybody has now who's younger, or is it only some places? But yeah, thank
Yeah.
you
I
for
feel like it's still like ranges for everyone,
Mhm.
because it also there's so many like factors that go into it, because it could be like just your immediate family that then like stops you from coming out, or
Yeah.
it's your friend group, or it can be very small or it can be very big. I came out like 3 times.
Okay.
So, at first was in middle school because it just kind of happened. All my friends were one of them came out and then everyone came out. We were just
Okay.
at lunch and it was like, oh, we just kind of found each other. And at that point, like I had thought like, oh, like I didn't really come out socially, just within my friend group. Um I did try to come out to my family, but that did not go well.
Mhm.
Which is why I had to come out 2 more times, which were in high school. The second time was like my sophomore year, and I was like kind of more sure about my identity at that point, at least like my sexual orientation. Uh, but like, uh, sorry, I guess my labels would be like bisexual and non-binary, and I know a lot of people have like feelings about bisexual, but the way I think about it is like binary and non-binary genders is how I think of bisexual. Just
Mhm.
I've just always identified with that label. So I didn't really want to change it, even though like I knew about pansexual and other sexual orientations. I just felt that one fit. So I've kept it. It came out in sophomore year, that didn't go well. But then like my senior year, I just like came out to like everybody. I was like done. I was like, you're gonna know, and I'm tired of you all treating my friends terribly. So I don't know. I guess it was like, why does it matter at that point? And then I had a way better experience in college. I was kind of scared to like come out again and do that all over again with like people
Yeah.
I didn't know. But it was way easier to come out like in the Bay Area than everyone's like, oh, why didn't you tell me your pronouns beforehand? Like we changed it right away. And I did have a hard time with the school changing my name. Just cause I go by Alex is my chosen name. So having
Mhm.
I didn't get that changed until my senior year of college.
Wow.
But I had a lot of friends that were like supportive and like would like advocate for me, which was a very different experience, instead of like having to advocate for other people.
Mhm.
And even if they weren't like a part of the community, it was just nice to experience.
Yeah. I think it's one of the beauties of community and
Yeah.
be able to create and find those authentic communities. It's like, oh yeah, we're all in this together. And like we can, we can help each other out when we might need it and find that extra support. And like even with the coming out 3 times, some people say the third time's a charm, but
True.
yeah. And also like, like you're graduating high school, like going into this new part of life. I think sometimes those transitions help us, you know, or maybe making a choice creates that transition. It's like, all right, we're doing this. This is my life, and I get to do the next steps. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay, started in LA. And I guess, well, to finish up this part of it, how is your family now? Are they better, not better, same? How is how's that going?
I've just kind of dwindled it down to limited contact. Most of them are very religious. So that's well, it's not a reason for it, but that's an excuse for it. Um,
Yep.
uh, but yeah, most of them I just try to keep my distance now. I've had like other parts of my family reach out to me who are also a part of the community, and they confide in me. So it's like, at least I'm not alone in that, and we have our little mini community there. Um, but yeah, space has definitely made things a little better,
Hmm.
and I've made my family here instead.
Awesome, awesome. That's actually something yeah, that's actually something that's similar with me in a way, I feel like my family, they all know, but we don't talk about things.
Yeah.
Like, since I'm a little physically, I'm in DC, most of them are in New York. There's that extra distance there. Um, there are times when it's like we have a space and we're all cool. Like, we can talk about the game or the weather. Um,
But that's just like,
politics, I guess, but it's like it only gets so far. And yeah, and I think part of me is in a place of being like, okay, I get to choose my family and I get to choose a family that's different than my initial one.
yeah,
We're like, okay, I can't lies. There are some conversations my family may not be ready to have, but my chosen family, I can make space and room to like have those conversations and yeah, make the family that I want to have, make the family I want to see in the world. There's something there. Uh,
yeah.
but okay. And I think when you mentioned the having people advocate for you and speak up for you, that definitely, in my mind at least, connects to what you're doing now, at PRIDEnet, where, doing some LGBTQ research so that we can have data to speak for parts of our community, for lots of our community. Um, and I guess with that, in your time there, what has been some of your highlight moments of so glad I got to work on that, or here's these people we connected to, or I don't even know. But yeah, what are some highlight moments from your experience there so far?
Most of it is going to be comms related, especially since the communications manager, she was doing a lot on her own. So like there wasn't as much capacity as there is now for like social media,
Mhm.
since I'm like the only one running them. But even just like showing people like what events we're at, sometimes we couldn't do that all the time. People didn't know we were like a national organization, and that we were actually going to other states other than
Mhm.
California. Just like humanizing us and the people behind it. There's like such wonderful people at PRIDEnet, a lot of them, if not all of them, a part of the community in some way, who are also like striving to um change uh the way we're represented in health research.
Mhm.
And part of that, for coming out day, I tried to get as many people as possible to like give advice to either their former self or like what they would say to someone in the community, what's something they wish they had heard for before they came out. And everyone had, well, we all have like things we wish for. So it came out, and it didn't get as much a lot of attention, but the people that like did see it, they messaged us and they were like, thank you, and like we feel touched. That like it's a wonderful message, and it's just like that kind of gave me an idea of what I wanted to keep doing with our like social media and stuff, and like introducing. We have ambassadors who are individuals that uh, help talk about the programs, and they they'll do like reviews and stuff for some of the um promotional stuff we're doing, or they'll participate in like blogs and stuff. But for LGBTQIA plus Health Week, this past March, I wanted to highlight them, and as I've gotten to do them and also been able to connect with more queer people who are older than me, I didn't have that experience before. Anyone over like 20, I hadn't met them before because I only knew the people in high school and then the people in
Yeah.
college in these little groups. So it was very, I don't know, it's as a younger queer person, it was very like, I'm just like in awe of everything they do.
Mhm.
Because like they've been working at this for so long, and it's like now I'm like getting to be a part of that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's a little weird because I do think on some level there's like a barrier on both sides. There are a lot of older people who may look at the youth these days and it's like, oof, they're doing so much. I don't even know like how to connect. I could never talk to them. I don't know how TikTok works. But then also at the same time, there's youth who are like, wait, this isn't new. This is like you've been doing this like 50 years ago. And like those stories are just amazing. It's just sometimes there's this idea in the back of people's minds that like, oh, they don't want to hear from me or they don't want to share with me. And it's the more people I talk to, the more I realize it's something that we can all might it's something that we all actually want
Yeah.
and enjoy. Like sometimes the right people with the right stories that are fun stories, um, or sad stories, but like stories and not just like sometimes there's rambling. We'll leave those out. It's just nice to hear and see, and it's like, wait, you did this in 72, and I try to like mentally imagine what the world was like in the 70s. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Um, but it is a beautiful experience when you get to hear um and share. So
Yeah.
um
I'm in a bit of a privileged position where like these like networks are already like curated and like making sure there's as much diversity as possible and people from all age groups, and getting to meet with these people to like, I guess, revisualize the way we communicate,
mhm,
because obviously not even like everything like affects the way we communicate our age,
yeah,
the way we identify, or where we live, um, whether it's like in a suburb or in a more rural community. And like, um, these are some of the things like we discuss all the time, and how this is why we have people that come from such different backgrounds to try
mhm,
and make sure those voices are heard within our communications and just in our work.
right, nice, nice. I like that, and it's cool that you are in the communications part to make sure you get to hear these stories and hear different images and ideas and then put them into practice. It's awesome. When it comes to PrideNet, in our conversations, I think there was a goal, like one of the things you're trying to do is get to when it comes to PrideNet, I think there was a goal of like getting more people to be involved in it. So like if someone heard of PrideNet and like what are like one or two reasons why they should, sign up to be part of the study?
So for the Pride study, we
Mhm.
have about 20,000 participants in the US. There's obviously a lot room for more, but we're looking for a little more diversity in our participants. So people of color, people from more rural communities, just to kind of give a more holistic view on LGBTQIA plus people. And we're also like expanding some of our questions. So right now we have a survey about digestive health,
Hmm.
um, which is I believe it just released this March, but we occasionally do other surveys. Our main survey asks about the whole person, so like we're asking, how does being a part of the community affect your mental, social, and physical health? Um, for the Pride study, you can fill out a survey online once a year, and you just visit pridestudy.org and sign up through there. Um, the only requirements are that you are part of the community and also over 18 in the United States and any of its territories. And then we also have the All of Us research program. Um, the goal is to have 1 million or more participants. PRIDEnet focuses on the LGBTQIA plus community and focusing on and making sure that we're represented, not only represented, but also represented correctly or properly, asked questions in the right ways. Often people that are not a part of the community can sometimes overlook the way they speak to us. And so being a part of that process and making sure our community is a part of that process. For that, you can learn more at joinallofus.org/LGBTQIA.
Okay, awesome, awesome. That is definitely helpful. And I like the idea of the not just being represented, but being represented correctly. Um, yeah, because there are a lot of queer people in film, TV, and media in the 90s and 2000s, and I think now it's much more diverse. It's much more multi-dimensional characters, let's say, instead of just like specific archetypes. So that's awesome. Okay. Going into a different part of the conversation. One of my favorite questions is, as a member of our greater LGBTQ plus community, what is a future vision you have for sort of the next step or an improvement? And this could be in any direction.
Mine's a little general.
Okay, sounds
um, it's more, I just guess, hope that one day it won't, our identities won't matter so much to other people. It won't be such a big deal to be a part of the community, whichever part, whether it's like not. Hmm.
hmm, so
I just
hard.
wish, I just wish for acceptance and not having to struggle so much, for our communities not having to struggle so much. There's like so much going on right now. It can be really draining. So it's like I wish for one day we can have the rest we deserve and not having to think about having to battle, have so many battles.
Yeah, that's that's a good, definitely a good vision. And it's 2024, so it's an election year, and I'm like, ugh. Uh, luckily, I live in DC, where no one really cares about us. So, in terms of our vote, so I know I'm spared from a lot of it, but Virginia's right next door, and the further west you go, it just seems like a very different experience. Yeah, I feel like whenever it comes to queer issues on the out loud, it's almost more just like, let's use this as a divisive issue. Let's, like all of these anti-LGBTQ laws, they feel like they're not really there to protect anyone, but they're there to like make certain people mad. and then vote in one direction. It's like, let's just make this a really big issue. And, you know, especially the things that are like anti-trans, it's like you're for less than 3% of the population, you're putting how many bills out for like the 12 people in your state that we know of right now? And you're gonna do all of this just in case. And it's like, come on, there's probably more important things you could work on. But acceptance and rest. That's the
Yes.
sounds like a good combination. Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm just imagining like someone's asking, like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Acceptance and rest. You know, that sounds pretty good. Add a hot tub to that, and it's like that's like what else do I need?
Yeah, I was doing some research about, so I check out like awareness days and everything and see like what intersects with the community. And April is acceptance month. And like on Google it says Autism Awareness Month, but I was looking into it more and people were more like, people know about autism, but they don't really accept it. And that kind of, I don't know, it really resonated with me
Mhm.
because like people know about our community, right?
Yeah,
About being LGBTQIA, and it's the acceptance part that I feel like we're missing in a lot of places.
that's fair. That's fair. I was listening to Instagram reel by Alok, I think this morning or yesterday. And they were like, all of these bills and all of this anger is because people are unable to accept parts of themselves. So they would rather say, I don't want to see you than actually like see that full truth, right? If people were to understand that like what we think of gender may not be the full truth of it, and our gender expansive communities are showing that to us, yeah, I just wonder like how would it be, right? Because some of them like, but no, I built my whole life on like these specific definitions and like this way. And by someone else living a different way and like enjoying their life, that's
Mm.
it's like I feel like they want that freedom, but there's a lot of fear there. Um,
Like most of the time we're just saying add us in, not taking away from you.
yeah.
No?
Yeah, it's like literally we're all actually just trying to live our lives. And I don't know what you did yesterday, but I don't think it hurt me or anyone else. I don't I don't know what you have against drag queens, but like if you gave one a chance, you'd enjoy the show. Um, or you would complicatedly enjoy the show, and then I think that's where it gets weird. They're like, oh no, it's I enjoy the show too much, but I'm supposed to not like you. This is not it's your fault for having the show and making me laugh. That's not good. That's not good. Um, I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. But yeah, I do appreciate the idea of like awareness and acceptance. Because like sometimes there are a couple organizations that I do things with, and I'm like, so what's our goal in this? And I'm like, more awareness. I'm like, but what is aware? Like, what does awareness even mean? Also, like, how do we know awareness worked? Like, how do you
Mm.
measure awareness? But I do think that acceptance feels a little bit more tangible, and acceptance looks like something. Um, like you were saying, it's one thing to know that queer people exist. It's another thing to actively allow us to exist.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah. To not be like, yeah, let's vote against their lives and their experiences because we get to. Um, it's a weird it's a weird place to be. But yeah, okay. So, hmm. Okay, here's a different question I'm trying out based on your last response. So based on your last response, pretend you had a mini magic wand. So you can't like do the full acceptance everywhere all the time all at once. But there is one change that you can make, or one, I don't say policy that you would enact, but like I'm going to make this one thing happen in a place for people. What is one thing you would be like, okay, here's something I want to see happen to like help with that vision?
Hmm. Hmm. It has to be small.
It's medium,
Medium.
medium.
Okay, here, I'll run this past you.
Okay, let's go for it. Go for it. I'm ready.
uh at least one designated like safe space in like, or I don't know how far it would need to go. Mm,
Close enough, but okay.
that's the intention.
Yeah.
Like,
So
because those spaces like make such a difference. Even if like even if like the region you're in is against you, as long as you have at least like one positive voice or saying that someone else is like in the same boat as you, often that just all the difference that like that can get you to like the next day.
thank you. Thank you. Like it's weird sometimes because sometimes like the thing they're like, oh, what would I do to change this? And then you can find something so small, but it's so impactful at the same time. Like it'd be cool to like get rid of all these laws and the other things, but it's like, you know what? One safe space and a voice person who reflects who you are um positively. That's you
Yeah.
know, like in a way, that's not that hard to do. We may not even need a magic wand, but you know, I and we may not even need a magic wand, but the idea of it, I think, can be a little more inspiring,
Yeah.
especially when I.
Luckily,
Mhm.
luckily we're in like a Zoom age.
Oh,
And a lot of people can connect via the internet now. Though sometimes it can be a little uh, difficult if you don't have access. But oh man, yeah, that's why I tried to say something more of a location.
yeah. But I mean, even with that, right? Like one location per state, where, well, maybe okay, one location per like I don't know, hour and a half drive for people out west. Um, one location, hour and a half drive for people out for people, where it's like okay, that all may not be safe, but there's that, and I have a like a I
Even
have
it's like
like a
presence.
like a rest stop,
Yeah.
a safe space rest stop where on your way to other places you can get there, get recharged, have that acceptance and rest, maybe a nice view, and just to keep making it through. But okay, I like that. I like that. Um, all right, are you ready for some ending questions?
Sounds good.
I used to call them rapid fire questions. So, uh, first question, what is something that inspires you and why?
It's kind of sappy, but my team,
Oh,
they're I I've grown a lot since I've joined PRIDEnet, and a large part of it is because of them. they're so supportive and they're like, I guess as someone that's like also like just starting their career, they've like made space for me, but also like are quick to remind me that they do like real like it's very easy to like put yourself down because you're like young and like or like, oh, they know better, right? When
Hmm.
they're quick to like remind me that like I am a part of the team and not like they rely on me and I'm like like it's not, I'm not thought of as like support for the communications manager. I'm like someone they can like go to for stuff, and that has increased my confidence a lot. And they're always like, I don't know if this actually answers the question though.
No, it does. It does. I mean, I think so. Earlier, when you talked about, I'm glad I didn't have to go to corporate because corporate is a certain way. And now something that inspires you is what you're getting from this team, right? You're getting mentors, support, growth, and like,
And all from queer people, which is amazing.
yeah, right. Just like all and then cherry on top. It's like we're all queer. We get to like do this, and I think that's super important. 'Cause I know a lot of people who are like, I'm the only queer person in my office or in the thing, and I have to wait till like a big conference, and then I can meet other queer people who made it to the conference. But like being able to be around queer people and supporting the community all day, that's I don't want to say the dream, but in some ways that's the dream. It's like, right? I don't need a safe space because my like so much of my day is safe space of amazing people. So I could see why that would be inspiring. Yeah. I think not all of us, but many of us would love to be in a like queer environment all the time. Uh so much so that you might even forget that it's a queer environment. I think I love that. Like after creating change, I was somewhere and I was like, oh, wait a minute. There aren't just a bunch of queer people all around me. This is what happened. Take me back.
I know, I miss it.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
the
a
next day.
that
Uh,
was the first like large queer space I had ever been in, and it was so uh humbling almost. Just like all these people just trying to change things. It's for the better. It was everyone at PRIDEnet's first time at creating change. So it was just we're at like community fairs, we're at some conferences that are more health based, not necessarily for queer people, but like trying to teach people how to talk to queer people about health research. And so just being in a space that's it was just so different, and everyone like wanted it was the first time we were like in a space where people like everyone that passed by really wanted to hear what we were talking about, or like were interested in like what we were doing.
yeah, there's something about being in a space with a purpose and
Yeah.
people show up and we're all just like, yeah. Like I did an episode and I was like, queer heaven was creating change because that's like, what else would heaven be? A bunch of queer people having a good time, working for the best, and just like full acceptance. There wasn't a lot of rest, but that's because it was like I'm because you knew there's a time limit on it. It was like, all right, next week I'm going to be back in the normal. Let me enjoy this as much as possible.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Okay, and this is the harder. This is why I changed it to just like questions instead of rapid fire questions because sometimes the answers keep going.
Yeah.
But okay, so so for you, do you have a favorite self-care activity or routine?
I read a lot of web comics, and that is my de-stressor.
Nice.
or watch anime, TV show. I just like consume media to like turn my brain off.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you have a web comic that people should check out? Does any
There's
come to
so
mind?
many. I have a spreadsheet. I'm like 50 to keep track of it. Um,
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Maybe I'll follow up with you and we'll put one in the show notes.
all right.
It's awesome. Okay. And now, do you have a favorite joke?
I'm really bad with jokes. I laugh at almost everything. It's really easy to make me just like suffocate from laughter.
Okay.
I love corny jokes, like dad jokes. I can't think of anything specific right now.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe half of the people can't answer that question. But it's a fun one. And I'm always like also a fan of corny and bad jokes or dad jokes. So it's like, you know what? Who knows? I'm just
I have
market research.
I've really been into those cat memes right now. Like the videos with the
Mhm.
there's like specific songs, the chippy chappa.
Okay, okay. That
Yeah.
works. That that works. That works. I think laughter is one of my favorite routes to joy. So as long as we can laugh and find jokes and memes and whatever to laugh to enjoy, I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. All right. So in 2024, my word of the year is co-creation. When you think of this word, what is something that you would like to see or create this year? And you would be like, oh, I'd love to do this thing, but I need some support. What's something you'd want to collaborate with others on this year is the other way I've been asking that question.
Co-creation.
Yeah.
So an issue we run into a lot is like not having enough imagery of queer people
Mhm.
for like our communications. Um, so I guess uh, like we have like photo shoots and stuff sometimes, but like often like budget can be like a restriction for that. If someone were to make free stock photos of more queer people, that would be amazing.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you don't want to like put more like communication stuff out there and it's a bunch of cis het people and it's like it's not who it's for, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And when there's only so limited amounts of queer stock photos, uh
Yeah. A
like
lot
the
of
same
it's
person would be repeated in different ways and
yeah, a lot of it is AI now and it's like it's we don't want that either.
Mhm. Okay, cool. So more queer stock photos. All right, so final two questions. So one, who's a queer change maker that inspires you?
I've been following Alluring Skull on TikTok a lot. They them and Mercury Stardust, who is a trans handyman. They did this fundraiser for trans healthcare.
Yeah.
But they did like a live stream for trans healthcare, raising money for their community as they're both trans. But they're I've been following for them for a while, and their journeys have been like amazing. Yeah, I recommend them on TikTok.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And now, final real question. In your journey, has there been a piece of advice or a word of wisdom that has been helpful for you
I was actually a little inspired by Cassie, who is my colleague, and the way they talked about uh, gender was very helpful for me. Um, I I struggled a lot with it before in like middle school, high school. I wasn't sure if I thought of being like my transition was very binary in like the way I thought about it before,
Mhm.
and like kind of breaking away from that, just kind of go with like what you want, what you feel. It even if like some of what you feel comfortable with is lands within the binary. If you're not in the binary, then it's not binary.
Hmm,
It's your experience, and it doesn't have to be the way other people want it to be. Or
I like that. If you're because you're not in the binary, it's also not in the binary, and
yeah,
you don't
exactly.
you don't yeah, I don't know how to say it best. But yeah, I do get the like the gist of it where it's just like there's a whole wide range of spectrums and like,
A
you know,
lot of it like
yeah,
overlaps, but that doesn't invalidate your identity.
there we go. That's
Yeah.
figured it out. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having this conversation, talking about your journey and what you've been up to. And it looks like you're young in your career, but it seems like you're getting to work on like a lot of really interesting things. And like you have that support system around you where you get to learn from people of many different people, and even like being part of the research, I'm sure there's even more experiences you get to draw in on. And I'm glad to have this conversation. The last thing, if you are interested in people connecting with you, how would they do that best?
You can visit us at pridenet.org. So PRIDENET.org. And if you want to connect with me, you can sign up for our newsletter. It's on the top tabs under contact and see our newsletter. And from there you can sign up. If once you receive an email from us, you can reply and it connects you to me.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Queer Changemakers. This is Justin, and I hope you are able to get some inspiration and maybe some ideas about how you can take action to create positive change in your life, communities, and beyond. See you next time.